Okay, we are live.
Right?
Hello, everyone.
Right.
Hello, hello.
We were able to finally coordinate with one another with all our busy schedules. So we're just gonna before we get into the questions, we're just gonna let it's people jump in, and if you are jumping in, please let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to hear from you. So I'll get started. My name is Michelle, and I am in the finance world, corporate world, and I joined the high ticket business about 10, 11 months ago. And it's been just an incredible journey. It's been I've never seen that much growth in myself within the last 10 years throughout my life. And it's been just such a blessing. And so tonight we are going to be interviewing Anthony, but let's introduce Jamie first. So, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm coming from Arizona, where, funny enough, it's colder today here than it is in Michigan.
Really?
Wild. I have been in the construction world all of my life, and most recently was chief operating officer for two large contracting firms over the last 6 to 8 years. And I found this business a year ago when we were moving to Arizona and decided to go all in and do this as opposed to trying to find another job. And it's been life changing. So that's why I am here.
Yes. And so we asked Anthony if we could interview him to have a man's perspective because I know that some of our followers, for myself and Jamie, are mostly women. And we want to get like a man's perspective because there are a lot of men in this company. And we just kind of want to bring that out to our audience. And as well as we want to get to know Anthony because we aligned with him. So, Anthony, if you want to just kind of discuss a little bit, like take us back to like what you were doing before you joined, or just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. I guess a little background about me. Went to college for business management. Ended up being a managing partner of an actual business. Did that for quite a few years. Probably about 15 years. I did that, and I just knew that. I mean, it was okay. I didn't know any different. I did that right from college into that. So I thought that that was normal. Hustle and bustle, working all kinds of hours, having to deal with employees that sometimes would show up, sometimes they wouldn't. And
Don't you love that?
so it was just one of those deals where I was like, I need to make a shift. I need to do something. So that was kind of when I started looking around in the world of marketing, and I wanted to figure out how to do online marketing. So I eventually did do that, and have been able to do that. Besides that, my full-time job, I actually do work for the railroad. So stay busy with that, but it's nice to have something like this that can balance things out. A little breath of fresh air, and so yeah, that's kind of my background as far as now. I'm quite a bit newer than you guys. I've only been in this business now for just a couple of months. So
Yeah.
although it's been kind of like drinking out of a fire hose right away, just because, and that's self-inflicted. It's I want to consume the information and try to know as much as I can. So
Of
I'm just
course.
trying to soak it up like a sponge, and
Yeah.
so far it's been good. Some days have been more difficult than others, but it's kind of just it's like anything new seems a little
Absolutely.
overwhelming, and after you do it a couple of times, it gets a little easier. So things are starting to slow down, but I'm no expert quite yet.
I don't think you ever become an expert. I feel like I will always be a student. I will always learn and grow because honestly, like when you collaborate with people, you always get such a different perspective that you're like, oh, I didn't think about it like this, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know that some of our, leaders that have been here for a long time, they still are constantly learning and shifting. And so that's the online world. It's shifting all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. The way technology is moving and AI is moving and everything, I think if you're not a constant student, you're just going to get left in the
Yeah.
dust. So that's why I say I'm not an expert. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on some things, but like I said, I think there's always room for improvement personally.
Absolutely. I love that. Do you want to kick off the questions, Jamie?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So, like, why did you find this business? Why did you start? Like, what were you trying to solve? Because our business, that's what we do. We don't product push, we solve problems.
Mhm.
So, obviously, something appealed to you to solve with this business. And what would that be?
Like kind of like I mentioned before too. I was thinking, hard work pays off, and being responsible, checking all the boxes. All that kind of stuff is what I thought that I wanted to do. And then you just kind of sort of get burnt out. You want something that makes you want to get out of bed every morning. And something that you can.
Yeah.
And with me, I get bored with stuff. So if it's not evolving, if it's not changing, then I don't know if that it challenges me, and I kind of lose my interest. So something like this it's great. I've done other type of companies before, some better than others. But what I really like about this company is the business opportunity behind it. And no matter how many people you talk to, whether if you're trying to sell a $5 product or a $50,000 product, you're still start at the same place with everyone. So it's like,
Right.
what do you want to do for your end goal? Do you want to have the $5 product, or do you want to have the $50,000 product? So that's what I love about this is it's no more work than any of the low ticket stuff, but it can be so much more rewarding.
That
Yeah.
makes total sense. Total sense. What was your biggest hesitation? Because there's a lot of people who watch and watch and watch, and they see our master class and they talk to us, but then something, stalls them from starting. What
Mhm.
or hesitation from starting?
Kind of goes back to what I was sort of just talking about too, is, it's anything new. We're humans, we're creatures of habit. So we get stuck in our own little ruts where we want things a certain way, all of a sudden, something changes or there's an audible here or there, and we just get flustered and get thrown off. And I think especially when you have something as robust as what we're doing here, there's so many bells and whistles and things that
Mhm.
you can jump into, you can have access to, that it's easy to get overwhelmed. And I think that's the hardest thing for one of the hardest things I should say is just that how it seems overwhelming. But I always tell people, sometimes you just got to jump in, test
Yeah.
the waters, see how it feels, and make adjustments from there, because it's like anything when it's new. You're never good at it. It takes a little bit of fumbling around before you start to get your groove, and then you take off from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just on another call a couple days ago, and one of the guy who was like a really big leader, he was like, when I started, he's like, I sucked. He's like, and then I sucked even more,
Mm-hmm.
and I continued to suck, and then I got better. I still wasn't good, but I eventually got better, and now he's making like $300,000 a month, and I'm like, I was like, are you sure you sucked in the beginning?
Right?
But I mean, everybody has that fear of like trying something new and being not good at it because you're being judged and you're being in front of the public. I mean, people are watching, people are judging, and you know, eventually when you get over that fear, you're just like, they're gonna talk anyway, so might as well do it.
Yeah,
Might as well make money.
yeah, absolutely. And then
Exactly.
half the
Who's
time,
laughing at that?
half the time you're worried about what people think, and it's someone from your high school, people that you're probably never going to see again for the rest of your life. So it's like, what's the big deal?
Right. I know it's such a silly concept, but it really affects every single one. I think that everyone has had that fear inside of them. And I don't know what really how you jump over that hoop of, not being afraid anymore, but you just it's kind of like a cold plunge, right? You go do a cold plunge, you can't just half ass it. You have to go in. Because
Yeah.
if you're gonna just dip your toe, you're like, no, it's too cold. I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
I agree.
all right. So, as far so you came in under Riley, and our team is a lot of women, right? So, were you surprised to see how many men were actually in this business? Or did you see more than like personally what I saw in the beginning? Because I only saw our group and I only saw some of the women. And now that some of the men are coming into our group, that's why it's kind of like, oh, okay, then I'm reaching out. But I just
Mhm.
want to get like a man's perspective coming into this group.
A little bit of both, I guess. You know, I guess kind of my where I'm kind of going with this is I actually had some friends that were in this business quite a few years ago, and I
Okay.
saw that they were working it, so I knew of it.
Okay.
But I was never approached. So now I'm like upset. Like, why didn't you get a hold of me then? Kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I kind of look at those were a couple of my buddies. So they were guys. So once I saw our team, there are a lot of women, very successful women, very organized
Yeah.
women, they're great at what they do. So at first it kind of took me aback a little bit, where I'm thinking, how is it so lopsided? And then after I kind of immersed myself in it for a while and started to open my eyes a little bit, then I started seeing other
Mhm.
teams and other people out there, and then I did see all kinds of huge leaders that are
Yeah.
male too. So it's not just females, it's not just males. It's a great combination of both, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. When Jamie and I went to, did you go to start right after?
I would have been after. I remember seeing some stuff
Okay.
going on, but I just missed it, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a lot of leaders speaking. I actually ended up bumping into one of them, and it was just, a lot of them are men, and then the wives come in and they kind of like they collaborate. It's so awesome to see. It's like
Mhm.
imagine having a business with your husband, your wife, and you get to travel the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Mind blowing.
So, in terms of income, because you've seen it all now and you've seen like your friends who were in this business previous, like how do you feel like the income that's being made here and the income that you're seeing being made here is compared to like a full-time job or another type of online business that you could have started?
Sure, sure. It's I guess I kind of look at it as the whole of what I like about this, and kind of like I touched on earlier, is you could sell the $5 product or the $50,000 product. Which one are you going to make more commission on? Well, that's kind of a no-brainer. And what I like about this is the fact that you're not capped on anything. I mean, you can. There's nothing against jobs. Having a good job is a good thing, and you can get rewarded with that. But at the end of the day, it's not. You always have things in the background that are out of your control, which could really change your situation in a hurry, and you don't know it. At least with something like this, not only is your income not capped, the more you want to put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. But on top of
Yeah.
that, you don't have so many variables of someone else that might be dictating if you're going to be working tomorrow or next week or whatever. So I just feel like there's a lot more control, which to me, I feel like, less anxiety. You can just kind of sit down and feel things out and really see the big picture, rather than worried about who you made mad in the break room the other day or something. So, so I mean, I love the fact that you get out of it what you put into it. And
Yeah.
with me, I'm kind of competitive and I like to be good at stuff. So with me, it's
Yeah.
like once I get on something, I get on the kick and I just want to be the best at it.
Right.
So something like this that can pay you, with the amount of commissions that we can make in this business, I think it's a no-brainer.
Right. Well, you're coming to hike with Jamie and I, and you're going to do the tallest mountain because it's the competitiveness is, there's some people who just have that in them where you're at a job and it's just, you get to the point where it's unfulfilling. It's like, what next? What next? What next? And then you just get to put more hours in, but you're not making more pay unless obviously you're in sales. But the typical like employee job is great because it gets to fund this, and then you get to build this on the side, and then eventually, becomes your job.
Right.
So, but yeah, like
Right.
anyone who has that competitive drive does amazing here.
Right.
Yeah.
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 If you're lazy, if you don't want to do anything, just I'm sorry guys, but it might not be for you.
Right, right, absolutely. It's the productivity and delegating your tasks and stuff like that, just to kind of stay focused. I feel like women can multitask a little better than myself. I'm kind of more just tunnel vision, where I see the one thing and kind of go after. But that works for me. So
Yeah. how do they say men compartmentalize? I have such a hard time with that word, compartmentalize. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, that's the way I would say it.
So yeah, I feel like guys are like they more focus on one thing. Women are just like all over the place. Okay, so where are we at? Sorry, I'm lost track here. So what excites you the most about building something of your own? And do you see this like as a side hustle, or do you see this more as like an asset that you're gonna own for life? Like, what do you think you're gonna do with this?
I think it's a combination of both. Right now, it is new to me, so obviously, it's not the only thing that I'm focused on right now. But like I said, I'm trying to consume as much as I can. I feel like I'm progressing faster than I thought I would. But as of now, I would probably call it a side hustle. But with the income potential, I mean, I could make more doing this in a month when I'm ready to do that than I could in a year at what I would do for work, or for a job. And
Right.
yeah, and so I mean, that's one aspect that I love about it. The other one too is like our legacy bonus too. It starts at
Yeah.
$5,000 and goes up to 80,000. You can have 6 accounts. That's every month, whether if you make a sale or not. So
Yeah. That's
it's
insane.
yeah. You look at something like that, and it's like, I mean, you got to kick yourself for not even wondering what
Try.
if or trying it. It's just
Right.
yeah. To me, it's like I don't know, and maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, I feel it's very appealing.
Right. Do you ever like think of what would your 80-year-old self say to yourself at 80?
Right.
That's like the question I ask myself all the time. I'm like, go for it. Just do it. Just if you fail, you fail. Whatever. But imagine if you could.
Right. And the way things go, I mean, it's going to go good or bad. I mean, maybe you got a
Right.
50-50 shot of it really panning out or really not. So why not roll the dice once in a while and see what happens?
Right. You're not gonna die and you could get rich.
Right. Right. Be happy. All kinds of
Freaking go
benefits.
for it, man. That's what I'm all about.
You're hilarious. Well, that kind of leads us into like, who is your ideal person to introduce into this business? Like, who do you want to come into this business with you? You help them get started, and like, who's your ideal, business partner here?
My ideal business partner, the ones that I look for are the ones that tell me that they're too busy.
Yeah.
Because then I love to hear about that. I mean, we're all busy. We all have all kinds of
Yeah.
things that we're juggling left and right. So I like to, and I'm not biased by men, by women, by color, by age, by any of that. I just want to be with the busy people because those are the most productive. Those are the ones that want to get things done. And
Yep.
it's like anything, like like I said, this is such a robust system. There's so many things that you can potentially use that if you can't manage more than one thing, at one time, then you might not be as successful as the person over here that can.
Yeah.
So with me, like I said, I'm not I don't discriminate in any way, shape, or form as far as age or people say I'm too old or too young. I'm
Right.
I'm looking for the ones that are busy, because those
Yeah.
are the ones that always do flip the switch, and they're the ones that can be productive, and they have the natural drive. I don't have to sit over
Right.
here and try to light a fire up under them. They're doing it themselves, and those are the ones that will soar.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about you, Michelle? Who would be your ideal buyer?
Same. Somebody who has drive, who has heart, who wants to succeed, who also wants to lead others. Like, I'm looking for an us, kind of like people who like to lead, people who are motivated. I mean, I feel like educated at this point is people could not even have an education and be smarter than somebody who had a master, right? It's just that person who has that drive, that discipline. If you are going, like, people who set goals and actually achieves them, that's what I like.
Mhm.
The go-getters.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right.
So And especially like when you collaborate with those people, they mentally stimulate you as well. It's kind of like getting like a little mini you that just like, hey, go, go, go. It's kind of like you motivate one another,
Mhm.
right? That I mean, Jamie, you definitely do that for me. You're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, I need to do this too.
Let's go. I'll drag you.
Yeah.
So how about you, Jamie? Since we're all spilling the beans over here, how
Right.
about tell us about your ideal person that you
Yeah.
like to work with?
Well, obviously, mine wants to look at this as a business, not as a side hustle. Like, look at it from the standpoint of, we solve problems here. And how do I solve problems for, my buyers? And, really somebody who thinks outside the box, who
Yeah.
really is playing catch up from the standpoint of they didn't necessarily fund a 401k or a bunch of stocks or investments. They were busy having fun in their 20s and 30s, and now they're like, shoot, I need enough to retire in 10 years. This business is for those people, and who I'm trying to attract is the ones who are behind, who need to catch up quick and look at this as a business, look at it as an investment, and want to grow. If you just want to stay comfortable and you know get a few bucks here and there, that's not who I'm looking to work with.
Exactly. It's like and the thing is, I don't think we hide this. I feel like some people are kind of confused, but there is an investment to come into this. And the fact is, you own an asset. And if you know anything about business, is the more assets you own, the more money you'll end up making, because most of your life you spend. Those are all liabilities. They're not making you money. You need to have money make you money. Just and once you get that concept, it's just like, oh, like I could buy this. Like I wanted the product myself. And then I saw the compensation plan. It's like mind blowing.
Business.
Mind blowing. So what, like, who do you think does not do well here?
I think the people that don't do well are the ones that, you know, maybe they're not that motivated. Maybe they're not consistency. I feel it's the same thing. If you don't show up on a consistent basis, you might not have the best amount. I mean, some people are lucky, but for the most part, if you look at the odds, if you are consistent, those are the ones that are going to pay off. I mean, I think people that are not motivated, not self-starters, ones that just kind of go with the flow a little bit, they don't try to think outside the box, stuff like that, where I think that those are the ones that might not succeed in something like this. But I mean, really, with all the tools and all the systems and everything that we have set up, like even if you're like, I can't do that business. I've never done anything like that before. Like that was what I was so blown away is you could step into it and there's so much stuff there for you that's just plug and play, and you just got to look to see what it is that you're doing, and you have the answers right there. So rather than me fumbling through, taking me 2-3 years to figure some stuff out, well, I have these resources over here that I'm just going to read through, and all of a sudden I understand the concept. I know how to explain it to people. It's
Right.
one of those things that if you're willing to go, and go the extra mile and do a little bit more, I think those are the ones that are going to succeed. The people that don't want anything to do with any of that, I think those are the only ones that I think would struggle with it. And it's more of a mindset thing. You just have to know what you want to do.
Yeah, closed-minded people. It's like if you're not willing to learn, this might not be for you, right? Because you're going to have to step outside the box. You're going to need to try things that you've never wanted to try. I mean, doing this right now, I mean, that would have scared the crap out of me in the beginning. I mean, that's why I didn't want to do it. I could not be on camera at all. And I'm not shy. I just didn't like cameras. And so I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing this. And here I am going live. And it's like, okay, whatever. And I mean, I used to sweat a lot coming live. And now it's like, I'm cool.
Yeah, and pretty much like a year before I started this business, I think I made 5 posts on Facebook. 5. Like
Yeah.
year prior to starting. Like, I was so not social media, like, I never posted anything. I was just kind of a doom scroller, as a stress
100.
reliever at night. And yeah, like, this is 100% totally out of my comfort zone, like, all of it. Like,
Yes.
I didn't even want to wear pink.
Oh
So,
my, yes. I made her, I was like, okay, I'm going pink, like real pink. And she's like, I don't do pink. I'm like, you're doing pink.
so yeah, it's been all about growth, which has been amazing. So,
It's amazing.
well, I know we're getting close to wrapping up. What else you
Yes.
got for us, Michelle?
So one, so from, so for any guys right now watching, what would you tell them if they're kind of looking at us? What would you say if they're on the fence about just reaching out about this business? Is there any kind of advice that you would give them?
I would say just be curious.
Yeah.
Obviously, people can sit here and watch us till talk till we're blue in the face, and they don't understand everything. So I always say be curious, ask questions. Obviously, you guys would be excellent people to go to. You're very knowledgeable. You're easy to talk to. You know what's going on. It's. I would say for anyone that's hesitating, that's just what you got to do. Is you just got to kind of start, and
Yeah.
ask a couple of questions. See if it's something for you. Me personally, I don't want to be. I don't want to be a pusher. I don't want to talk you into joining something that you're going to hate every day of. So I want to
Right.
work with the people that want to work with me and that actually see the big picture and actually want to go towards that. I don't want to talk someone into something. And with
Yeah.
that being said, most of the time it's just not enough education. You don't actually know what it is that you're talking about or what we're doing or what it is. So I just think you can't be shy. You got to just kind of jump in there, and if you have some questions, ask, because I feel like I could go to you too with any question, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get an answer. And
Yeah.
you don't seem like someone who's going to blow me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're approachable. You have the answers, and I think it'd be a great resource for anyone really starting.
Just ask the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so many people they jump to conclusions and they think they already know what's going on or what you're talking about, and maybe
Yeah.
they might, but there's so much else going on that sometimes you just need someone who's actually in the trenches to explain what's going on.
Yeah. I feel like I do think it's like a defense mechanism. They don't want to be scammed.
Right.
And so whenever it comes to having a conversation, instead of being open to having a conversation, they feel like they have to be defensive. And it's like, at the end of the day, we're going to have a conversation. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I don't want to work with people who do not want to do this. Like, I want the excited person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't get excited about this, you might be scared. You're going to be scared. Everyone is scared, but I want you to be excited.
Right.
So, well, I really appreciate you letting us interview you and ask you all those questions. So is there any questions you want to ask us? Put us on the spot?
I guess I feel like I've kind of blurted out some already, but I mean, I guess at what point, we'll start with you, Michelle. At what point did you kind of realize, you wanted to do this, or everything wasn't right, or tied to future success, stuff like that? Like, what was your aha moment, maybe?
Well, I was working 80 hours a week at my corporate job, and it was like 3 years, going on 3 years, and I was burnt out, like exhausted, and the pay wasn't all that great. I should have been making double, working 80 hours a week. And my whole big thing was to get comfortable at the end of 2024. My biggest thing, I was like, in 2025, I'm going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, whatever it is. And everything kept falling into my lap. I was like, okay, that is very uncomfortable. And then I was like, well, this is what I asked for. And when you get all these signs and you just don't listen, I was like, okay, I get it. I just don't want to listen. And then finally I just saw this. And once I saw the compensation plan, I was like, oh, I was so rude to my mentor. I was so rude because I was overworked, so I was like tired, and I just wanted all the answers, and I was demanding, and I wasn't open minded. But once I watched the master class, I was like, oh, I needed to watch that before having a conversation.
No, I can't stress that enough. You know, especially
Yeah,
with people that I talk to, you know, I mean, everyone wants to ask you 1,000 questions in the DMs, and it's like, okay, that's great. Like, I don't mind answering your questions, but you know, remember this masterclass that I told you about? Just watch that. You
just
know,
watch it.
you're
It's an
gonna,
hour.
yeah, you're gonna solve so many of these. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna clear things up for you. And that's to me, and maybe it's just I'm more of a visual learner, but with me, I can sit
Yeah,
down and watch a video, and I'm like, oh, okay, that clicks. Now you go back and forth over, you know, text messaging or just messaging in general, and so much can get lost, you know,
yeah.
in conversation that it's like, you know, just take an hour of your day, watch this master class, and then let's have a conversation.
And how much time do you waste on Netflix watching random movies or just on social media, just watching funny things?
Right.
So, yeah.
Definitely guilty of that in the past.
Yeah,
That's easy to get sucked into with these algorithms and everything else. I mean, you watch one thing that you're somewhat interested in, and then they just keep feeding it to you, you know.
100%.
Well, and I suppose with Jamie, let me ask you one more question. So, you know, if you find someone who has the capital, they are disciplined, you know, there's someone that they want that you want to work with, and they just seem like they have everything, you know, kind of going for it. Like, what's your approach to be like, that's my person, that's who I want to work with, and how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so I've definitely personally reached out to a few different people about this business opportunity that I feel they would do great in. And I just go back to being, you know, relatable to what they're currently doing, how this isn't an add on, how literally for a couple hours a week, you know, they can put content out, hop on calls, the products sell themselves, the masterclass sells for you. So you really don't need to be a big salesperson here. I mean, we're literally just, you know, filling out paperwork at the end of it all, you know. So yeah, like I just I'm just me and just explain it from a business side of things, and it's a work smarter, not harder. You know, that's been my whole motto this year. And the ones who I see killing themselves for peanuts that we also know, you know, if they fell dead tomorrow in their job, they would be replaced. It's like you got to have multiple streams of income coming in today's world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, that usually is what kind of sells it is somebody going, yep, like we're all three sitting here going, yep,
Yep.
you have multiple income streams. So, and diversified too. So,
100%.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I am so glad we got to do this, and I'm sure we'll collaborate again soon. So, for
I'd like
anyone
that.
watching, or if you're catching us on the replay, please let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you know any one of us and you have more questions, just reach out. It's a conversation, guys. It's easy, easy peasy. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Bye bye.
Bye.